Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to the 6 a.m. Run podcast, live from our 6 a.m. Run studios here in Wilmington, Delaware. I am CEO and founder of 6 a.m. Run, and probably the only time I really want to mention that we are sponsored by a company that I started and founded a few years ago, 6 a.m. Run. So everyone, please do me a favor and check out 6amrun.com, especially if you run or into any kind of cardio workout. Obviously, we thank the company that I started. So I guess, do I thank myself? I don't know. But 6 a.m. Run is our sponsor, and this show is brought to you by 6 a.m. Run. I want and always want to start off the show by letting our guests introduce themselves, because I think no one introduces themselves better than themselves. But I will just say, Coach B, welcome to the show. And let's get right into your introduction and who you are as people are looking and seeing you. How are you, and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm Coach B, Bernard Corey, for those who know me. I'm originally from New York, grew up in Newcastle when we first moved down here, man. It's an honor to be here, pleasure. I'm
Thank you.
excited.
Thank you.
Excited.
I do want to get more into your history and you're a Delaware native, and our show is based in Delaware. So we love bringing people that I feel match our mantra of health and wellness.
Right.
You do a little bit of everything with that. We do start off every show, though, just I know you being new to the show, with a sneaker of the day kind of thing.
Nice.
Today, I went with a Jordan 1, which is the sweater Jordan, if you remember from the Spain Olympics. What is Coach B's, if I had to say one sneaker that is just front line, the sneaker, if I say sneaker, what's the first sneaker that comes to Coach B's mind?
The Crazy Eights.
For Kobe, Adidas.
Crazy Eights. I have two pair of them. I still have my original pair from high school. I bought it in 1998.
And played in those?
I played in them for like a year, but they boxed up. Like if I pull them out, they're heavier than the ones that are out now. I actually went to go try to buy them again, and I put them back. They don't have the 8 on the tongue. The weight is off, and the inside, the insoles feel different.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge. I don't like Adidas at all, but those are the sneakers that I like. Those Adidas are the ones I like.
Goat debate. You again, we'll get more into your history. I have to ask you that. You mentioned Kobe, LeBron,
Easy.
Jordan.
Jordan easy. You got to live through it. I was a Knicks fan. We from New York, so he punished us.
Hey, I'm a Jordan guy. Starks gave it to us.
Yeah. I mean, but he didn't give us a championship.
No.
So it's a little bit different. So Jordan easy.
You are from my era, and I love that about you. And as we talk about things, let's go to the start. Basketball. You're from Delaware. When did basketball come into your life, and what has basketball done for you?
So my father put the ball in my hand. I think I was like 5. And he told me, he was like, I'm good. You're going to be great. That's all he used to tell me. And that's when I felt like basketball kind of took over. And then when I turned about 7, he started doing drills with me, and I've just been addicted since. And the biggest thing I learned from that was the consistency, the love, and the discipline. So those are 3 things I always apply, not only in sport, but in my life. If I love your kid, it's going to be a constant love. It's going to be a disciplined love. And then we got to do it all the time, man. Like we got to make sure you're practicing, doing your, practice what you work on. So
I do want to even go further in that. You talk about your father. I think that, as parents, it is our job to pave ways for our kids, right? But it starts through discipline.
Right.
One of the things is, you and this lifestyle we lead of now with AAU, we get these kids up early. We were just sitting here in the pre-show talking about college.
Right.
The best thing I learned in college, mommy wasn't waking me up at 7:30 anymore.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
And if you play sports, any kind of sport, football was the worst. So I went to Wagner University in Staten Island, and I always worked out with the football players because they were always more disciplined.
Yeah.
They always put in an extra rep. They always ran earlier. And they made it stronger. So I always worked out with football players, but I was the basketball guy. Like that was.
Well, I feel like that's just the thing going to UD, and I was more from the soccer place. But to your point, so I'll tell you a story real quick on that. It was funny. Ty Perry used to come in when I was at UD. Shout out if Ty Perry's watching this. He would come in to Little Bob and play with us pickup, and we'd be like, "Why are you here?"
Right.
And he's like, "Because you guys are going harder."
Yeah, that's true. So even to this day, we play basketball on Tuesdays and Thursdays year round.
Right.
And one of the guys told me, like, oh man, you can't guard me. And I was just like, yo, it feels good to still have somebody say that to you. So I asked him, I said, "Yo, how old are you?" He was like, yeah, I'm 19. I said, well, my daughter's 15 and she's better than you. If I was your age, you wouldn't have a shot. I was signing my first deal at 19. So you couldn't guard me then. You still
Yeah.
can't guard me now.
What do you see? You see, so I feel, and even in talking to you the last couple of weeks, as much as we've been talking a while, so wanted you on here. That's a lot of our customers at 6 a.m. Run and our audience and the people who are going to watch this. If you know our story, I started 6 a.m. Run at 35 when I couldn't play basketball like I used to. And I shifted into what I could do. Good was run, right? Didn't have to worry about defense or being as quick or things like that. I could run at my own pace and go that kind of on my own, kind of like a golf or a single person sport. When you see a child and you see they have potential is one thing, right? We were just talking about it here. You are 6'4", 6'4". You are just have potential in your height, but there's potential and then there's a desire.
Right.
How do you force the kid that you see has potential and might not have the desire? How do you?
I don't believe in potential.
Really?
I don't believe in potential because do you ever reach your potential? Who sets the bar for you to reach it?
I mean, that's a great question.
So what is it? Is it a real thing?
I think
I'm
there.
just saying.
I think.
So I look at it like this. The first thing you have to do is love what you're doing.
100%. 100%. And that's what I'm saying. There's got to be love there, right?
What you're doing, potential doesn't matter. What someone else says doesn't matter, especially with a child because they haven't fully developed yet.
Right. I'm 100% with you.
10 times out of 10, the kid is smarter than the parent.
Right.
The parent does the same thing over and over.
So on that, I'll give you a story. And again, you're my generation. So I never forget. This is where I'll tell you 100%. And this brings this story to my mind. So the year Nintendo came out, that was actually the year I found out no Santa Claus existed because my dad couldn't get it for Christmas morning. You remember that thing was like sold out everywhere.
We had my dad was different. So my dad's best friend was Bernard King.
Okay.
So we spent a lot of time at MSG. We never had money issues because
right. So you had
all they wanted to do was hang out.
So no. So we're gonna get into that. But what I'm saying is like
I understand like
the struggle.
Let's get rid of those just get rid of it. That's we talked about Christmas. Christmas, I don't want to buy presents. Let's travel.
Right.
Let me bring you somewhere so you can go back. And I got a story about that.
Okay.
So my daughter was 9. I'm from New York. I have friends in Florida. So for Christmas vacation, we went to New York, we went to Atlantic City, and we went to Florida all in that week.
The Christmas to New Year's.
When my daughter went back and the teacher said, oh, tell me what you did. She said, I swam. I went to the beach. And that was it. Like we went to New York, we went to Atlantic City. We did all you did was swim.
That was the best thing she did.
When she wrote, so that's what she said. When she wrote what she did, the teacher was like, she has to be lying. There's no way she did all of this stuff, not knowing. But we deal with pro athletes. So Christmas, we went to New York to do a tournament. Then we stopped in Atlantic City for the draft, like pre-stuff. Then we went to Florida because that's where we were supposed to go for vacation. But it was all one.
You make it.
So Christmas is like, I don't want you to think of Christmas as you just get gifts. Like,
right.
You have no idea what you're going to get. And that's get rid of that. Like, okay, this is what it's supposed to be.
It's not. And to your point, if you asked for it and got it, right? I want this. This is my list. And then I actually do agree with that a lot. I don't like what's on the baby's list.
This professor asked me one time. He said, you come in here with all these sneakers. You got hundreds of people at your basketball game. He said, what do you get somebody that has everything? And that's what Christmas turns into.
Yeah.
Because you have it for the moment, and then 10 seconds later, you don't even play with it anymore.
Yeah.
Look at your kids when you buy them. It's one gift they wanted that they got, and they'll play with it the whole time. And they'll put everything else in the bag and carry it around.
Well, and to that point, that's when you get older, and I want to definitely stay on topic, but I think too, to that point, I've met a lot of millionaires.
Right. And
they have Ferraris, beautiful cars, McLarens. A lot of my wife and I have this discussion. A lot of millionaires I've met, the one thing they don't have is a real friend
Yeah.
because
And
everyone's their yes man or
and I've
their
learned that from dealing with the NBA guys. So when we had the blue and white game last year, I had the honor of taking care of Maxi's family.
okay,
And it was a situation with his family, and I kind of, smoothed it over. And these are $1 million babies. Like these guys are making $120
yeah,
million for 3 years. They coming from nothing. But something happened, and I smoothed it over, and nobody seen it, but Maxie did. And he came back to me and was like, yo, thank you for
right,
taking care of my brother. He had a dog, and I took care of the dog. And he was like, thank you for taking care of my brother. If nobody's seen it, I appreciate it.
wow,
So that was a crazy experience from millionaires that are younger.
mhm.
Because you get so many times they be real arrogant. They don't care. Like, that was pretty cool.
So
He's
even
a
on
really
that,
cool guy.
so going even to a Maxi who to me is a baby in the league, right? Still,
100%.
right now, what I'm seeing is, and I don't want to direct any names, but we all in Delaware can, there's these kids that are anointed.
Mm-hmm.
And what have they really even done yet? But they're the one, right? What do you do to kind of keep them a little grounded? Because I think I was watching a Cam Newton excerpt on Instagram, and he was saying, I don't want my kid to peak at 8. I want my kid to peak at 28,
Right.
right? How do you handle your children that you're working with, especially if they're talented young, to keep them not, because that's the complacency. Once you tell a child you're amazing,
Right.
then they kind of, right? It's the natural thing for a kid to say,
So where I'm from, you're not better than me.
right,
So I always remind them, like, yo, you're good and you could be this, but you're not better than me. You haven't seen it. You want to see it? I want to show you in pieces. I don't want to give it all to you. And that's the gift and the curse is the internet. Like you can see everything, so you compare what you're into,
hmm,
like where you are in life with where you are in life.
right,
Like, oh, you're hanging out with millionaires, this. I should be doing that. And my question is, why? What really have you? So everybody is the man in their own hood.
right.
Have you ever been out and seen the opposite side? Because California is different
Hmm.
from Delaware. New York is different from Delaware. Baltimore is probably the best basketball city in the country. You
The
ever been
DMV,
to Indiana? You
right,
ever been? I say all of this to them. It's like I want to bring you there outside of AU to see how good you are.
right,
Because AU is structured.
yes.
What
Just
about if you? I've played in games where if you win, they'll chase you to the train.
like,
I've been chased to the train. I've been shot at over basketball.
wow,
Just playing because they feel that way. Are you that good?
right. To invoke that kind
Are
of,
you that good? You're
right,
good here. You might beat up on everybody. And we got into a conversation pre-show, and it was like, yo, he's a shooter. Has he really had defense on him? Is he really a shooter,
right,
or is he just making open shots? It's two different things.
yeah,
We got guys that don't miss with hands in their face. You could foul them, knock them down. They step on your ankle, get hurt. That basket's still good.
right.
AJ English, he don't miss. Like
No,
I've been all over the country with AJ English. I've never seen him back down. Like he's really good.
right,
He's anointed. Never seen a player like that.
right. I mean,
In the league, out the league,
no.
never.
And you're talking about in the league. I mean, you can in Delaware, people will know. I mean, Tyreek Hill, works out at the field house. So any of the kids that are working at the field house, and both of my daughters, I go get from there. Tyreek Hill, who's not in the NBA anymore, and for obvious some other reasons that people might know, but I watch a training session of his. The guy doesn't miss.
Yeah, so I did a training session where being with the Sixers, I went to a practice one time and I had met Sam Cassell. We hit it off. He's from Baltimore. I was down there doing a camp and he was there, and I had my blue coat stuff. He's like, "Yo, you the blue coats?" So we were busting it up. We did a workout session with some upcoming guys. We shot for 2 hours. They missed 5 times in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like if you think you're good, you got to be that good.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just
You gotta be
watching
that good.
what I love that they do have at the field house, I think it's like Wednesday mornings at 10. And then during the summer, because your kids, if they go in there, it's like they have their pro runs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are not pros. They're not. But these are guys that didn't make the league. And it's like, whoa.
It's a high level game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very high level game.
Yeah.
I work out with some of them. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like to claim people. I let
No,
people
no, no, no,
claim
no.
me,
You no, and that by the way, and that's one of the reasons I wanted you on this show is again, and I don't mean to repeat myself, but it's about what I love with my youngest now, who's going to come up, in your system a little bit, and we can even talk about even your Saturdays, kids calling their own fouls. What I love, and I've always said this, and this is one thing I want you to take what I say. So I don't think people give kids enough credit for their resiliency, right? The one thing I know, and I'll say this on camera, and I'll actually say this to my children. I think we talked about this a little bit on text. A first kid, right? You're kind of like, I want to protect it. I want to make this path for her, but I made mistakes, right? But it's beautiful, and I want to have that conversation with her to say, listen, doesn't mean, I love you any less, but now I don't want to make those same mistakes.
Right.
So now I learned how resilient Layla was, right? If you just leave them alone. So it's like with London, I'm like, okay, Coach B's program and atmosphere, because of the resiliency, right? Well, I'll say the story, and I'm ranting a little bit right now, but here's where I'm getting at. There was a kid on Saturday looked at you, and it was almost like he wanted you to call the foul.
Right.
You're doing your list and you're doing your evaluations on what kids need to work on. You're only doing your job there. And you were like, what? Were you fouled? Yes or no? You call
Right.
You call it, right? If you
But
weren't,
I think in general, that's what's missing in basketball, period.
Yes.
I don't think kids just go play with their friends enough.
right,
And the kids that are at the park playing with their friends, they're just doing it for fun. They don't they just want to go out there and play. But those same kids that train and do all of that in the gym, they need to go play with those kids too, because the first thing I say is like, yo, what you learned today? Every time we finish, what did you learn today? And I go to I don't care if we got 40 kids. Everybody has to tell me something
Right.
they learned today.
yeah,
And a lot of times it's like, oh, I had fun doing this. It was harder than what I thought it was. I could shoot the ball. I could
Yeah.
dribble the ball. I can,
Yeah.
and like you said, they're resilient, and their brains aren't fully developed, so
No.
they don't even know
yeah,
what they're good at until you show them. And that's my job in life is to build your kids' confidence and improve their skills with skill stuff, discipline, and just playing.
right,
My time is very expensive. The more you come, the cheaper it is.
yes. And I do want to get into that because you've perfected a lot of people now that I'm, again, being more in it with kids now that are in it, and me just loving basketball and I was growing up. Two things I want to get into, but even that, there's a lot of people that want to make one thing. You said to me is you took what you love and made it a full-time career. I see a lot of people that come to me as an entrepreneur and say, I love basketball. Hami, what do you think I can do to make something in basketball my full-time career, right? Not all of us, or not a lot of people who love basketball are getting D1 six-figure college coaching offers, right? What you've done is you've said, I love basketball. I do see a need for something. And you've made it a full-time career. You've branded. We talk about clothing. We talk about leagues.
Yep.
Can you tell me a little bit for the people who say, because I'm sure you hear it too, and you probably know some of the people I'm talking about that say, I want to make this a full-time career. Do you have advice to them? Do you have, or do you like? Is it as easy, or yeah?
It's,
Can you
it's
take?
like having a kid. Like you're never really ready for it. You just kind of. The first thing I want to say is you got to have a partner that supports you.
Okay.
If you got a partner that supports you, your entrepreneurship can go. Because times when you feel like, man, I don't want to do this, or she'll tell you, yo, get up and go out there and do this. And that's what happened with me. It was like, I would have these jobs. I worked at DuPont. I was making $40-something, like $48 an hour. And I didn't show up to work one day because I wanted to hoop. And then I did it again. Then I did it again, and they're like, yo, what's going on with you? Like, are you doing drugs or something? It's like, nah, I just wanted to play ball. And that's when I knew, like, I can't.
You don't love that,
I can't work a job.
right?
And the misery inside of some jobs where I think people should use that. If you are working, you should use the money you make there to live your dream.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that again, and I don't want to go on a rant, but that brings to that point. We talk about potential skill. I started, again, I'm 45. I started 6 a.m. Run, or the idea for 6 a.m. Run and the formulation for our products. I started that, Coach B, at 39.
You know what's funny about that? Success doesn't have an age.
It doesn't.
And your ideal of success doesn't matter to outside people.
Right. Right.
So like, somebody be like, oh man, they always say this to me, yo, you should do this and this and this and this. And I said, why don't you do it?
Right.
If you have this idea for me, why don't you do it? Why are you giving me your best ideas?
So you probably so let me ask you this, because I, as an entrepreneur, right? So it's so funny you say that, because I'm probably in that category, because I look at you, I probably shouldn't go break the wall here. I look at James and I, who's helps us with creating this podcast. I I always am like other entrepreneurs. Are you like that in the sense? I always want to also help other entrepreneurs with my ideas.
100%.
So, okay.
Some of them I know they work. You wasting my time.
Okay.
See, that's where the discipline comes in, and the no nonsense. Don't come to me with some harebrained idea. Like, yo, how you doing basketball and you lift weights all the time? Yo, just do your weightlifting joint. That's
Right.
where your heart is.
Right.
That's and again, it comes back to, if this is what you love, that means when you love something, whether you sick or you hurt or you depressed, you're going to continue to do it because that is what you love.
Right.
If you don't love it,
Yeah.
you can't do it if you don't love it. And then you don't share everything you love with everybody.
Sure.
Why are you giving me your ideas if you love it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just an idea. Now, if it's somebody that, okay, I could go to you, Hami, hey, how do I get this financing for this? Or
Right.
how do I get, that's different. You're a professional and I could come to you and you know my work.
Right.
So then it's easier to sit down and say, hey, open your books and let's do it.
Right.
Because it's a real thing. Some people just like, oh man, I want to sell t-shirts. Send me your logo, I'll print them for you. Oh, well, my logo's really not done. All right, well, come to me when you're ready. We own a printing company, so it's like, just give me your stuff. I'll print it. Send me your stuff. I have it to you by Friday.
Well, on that even, you're like me on that, right? I think and it's funny because we talked about that briefly on the first night. We really had a full conversation, and that's where I was like, this guy is very much the epitome of the word entrepreneur. Because even that, we saw people were asking for 6 a.m. Run clothing, right? We had a nutrition product. People were like, do you have shirts? I want to rep you at the gym. I want to rep you in my race. So we would go to a third-party business, of course, to make us shirts. And I said, wait a minute, this seems too expensive. This doesn't seem right.
So
and we look into it. No, and we looked into it and we said, wait, it is not right.
So the first thing I did was a league. We used to be at the Delaware Sports Complex.
Yes.
All 6 courts with kids. Games going on for 3 hours, all 6 courts. I was spending $4,000 per league.
Renting the place.
No. I was an employee there, so I only got charged half rent.
So what was the fee? The fee was?
The apparel.
Wow.
This guy was killing me. I mean, he was killing me. And then one day I said, let me see if I can outsmart this guy. He can't be that smart. He can't be that smart. Like, yo, can you show me how to do this?
Right.
And this guy takes me over to a shop, trying to be big man and this. Taught me how to print, taught me what to get, what not to get. I did it one time. I showed my daughter and a couple employees. Then he was going out of business because he went through whatever. I bought everything.
Wow. Yeah.
Everything.
And
so it went from $4,000 per league to about $6,000 for the year.
Do you think, and this is the thing, and if I love you being an entrepreneur, and I don't want to shift anything off topic. Do you think what I'm getting from you, the more and more I talk to you too, and this is maybe an entrepreneurial trait, how do you rate yourself? It seems like even on that, I don't want to say that's a problem, but you're a problem solver, right? Everything to you. So every day is not a great day, right? You're going to wake up and there's going to be really bad days and fires and things, right? But I think what happens is you have to say to yourself, you're not afraid to tackle every day because you're like, I'm going to fix whatever happens,
That's
right?
where we were from, though. It's how you were brought up. Like everything wasn't always like, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Like, I had 9 Division I offers, and my father died signing day.
Wow.
I ended up going to Del Tech because I didn't want
To
to
leave.
leave my brother and sister. Could have went anywhere in the country.
How was
I said all that to say things like that make you tough, and it doesn't scare you
right.
anymore. Like, you're not scared anymore. And when you're an entrepreneur, that's all it is. It's like, it's a gamble.
Mhm.
So you say, oh man, you're not gonna have good, you're gonna have bad days. Even on bad days, it's nothing but when you realize it's just a conversation
Mhm.
and a decision to make, whether you're either gonna say yes to it, you're gonna say no to it, but you can't let the question linger.
Mhm.
That's where people go wrong. Like, yo, you owe us $200. You ain't pay your $200. Well, we gonna send this. Well, are you gonna sacrifice that to pay the $200 and say yes and get it over with? Are you gonna sacrifice that and do something else? It's just making a decision, and I think people are scared of those decisions.
Mhm.
Even being an entrepreneur, like, oh man, I can't do that. Like, yeah, you can. Just gotta make the decision. Be disciplined and make the decision. So you can't go out this weekend. So you can't buy sneakers
But
this
there's
weekend.
sacrifice. Yeah,
So you
sacrifices.
can't do that. But it's a decision.
Yeah.
Just wake up and make the decision. Make the best decision. Make sure it's calculated, and just discipline in it.
Mhm.
Like, again, if this is something you love, there's nothing you won't do for what you love,
Mm-mm.
and that's what it comes down to. So there's always problems. Like, we have people that think they're bigger than what they are, and they come to you with their arrogance, and I smile at it because I was that at one point. So it's an understanding of it,
Oh,
and it's like, look, let me give you let me give you a little bit. You could either leave your arrogance at the door and come in and be loved, or you could be on the outside of the fence now, meaning you have a problem.
yeah.
And that's where I look at life. Like, either you're gonna address it, accept it, make your decision, or you're not.
So I became an entrepreneur, and that brings up my next kind of question as we kind of get to the tail end of everything. But when I graduated UD and I got my first job, and a year from here, so I got my MBA. I'm a banking guy, MBNA, Bank of America. At 21, graduating UD, I cursed a little bit. I'm thinking I'm the shit.
Right.
I'm not. I'm
Right.
far from it.
Yeah.
But
You
how
gotta
do you
learn
deal?
that.
I was
You
gonna say,
gotta
how do
learn
you?
that.
You're dealing with these children now, and even 21, I think you're a child. I hate to say that,
Yeah, he is.
but I think you're a child still. You know
You're
what I mean?
more of a child now because you only seen it on camera.
Right.
Our generation went through the
Right.
stuff that's on camera now, and
So
that's the difference.
how do you tell a 21-year-old
For
that you're
sure.
working with? You show how do you show yeah.
So let's say we got a kid and he's like, oh man, I want to go overseas. I want to do this. I want to do that. So we did these tours and we brought kids to Mexico.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this. Yeah,
We
yeah.
did all that, right? One kid didn't show up. Like, all you had to do. So I being with the Blue Coats, I interact with a lot of different coaches. And they
Mhm.
come up to you and they're like, hey, I got a kid. I got a kid. I got a kid. I'm like, all right, no problem. Tell your kid to be here and come work out with us. I used to do 6 a.m. workouts. 20 guys said they want to go. 4 guys showed up. I had a coach that went overseas. He's in Mexico, and he said, "Coach, I need 12 guys to play in this tournament. They gotta be, they gotta have their passports. I'll take care of everything else."
Wow.
Who's the first guys you think I went to?
The ones that came
The
in,
4 guys that came. Guess who stayed? Them same 4 guys that got up at 5 in the morning,
the
6 in the morning.
discipline behind
They
it.
stayed.
Yeah.
The other guys I invited so they could see it, so they say, yo, Coach B, you really do what you say? I took 12 guys.
Yeah.
If you was late, I would lock the door, you couldn't get in. You got to be there at 5:30.
Yeah.
We start at 6.
That brings one of my final questions, and we were just talking about even my daughter in the pre-show. Second chances. People do make mistakes. You are
100%.
so, like I said, what I love about you is you're black and white. There's no gray area with you. You follow this rule or you don't, right? And if you don't, do your 10 push-ups, do this.
Right.
You're very black and white. Are there, and we talked a little bit, you were talking even about your other previous position where you saw like there is, when you do see like some gray areas, do you still feel like the black and white rules can apply? Like, or in like, because
So
it does seem like you are a very man of character and you do live A, B. That's, you know what I mean?
so love is about discipline. That they go together. If you, let's say, so for me, I have 4 girls and 1 boy. he's disciplined different from
From the
them.
4 girls.
Way different because of what I went through, whether
Yeah.
it be just being black, police officers, school, like whatever it is. He's disciplined way different. And my wife's, why are you so hard on him? I said, because I don't know if someone's going to give him a second chance.
Sure. That makes sense.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that police officer is having a bad day and he wants to take it out on him.
Yeah.
So I want to prepare him. I want him to be disciplined and see it and understand it. But of course, there's second chances.
Yeah.
I won't do it in front of anybody though.
Right. It's more like
I'll let
privately.
You'll have the issue. We'll address it. We'll separate. You'll text me on the back end and say sorry. And we'll have a full conversation. And we'll never talk about it again because it's like I said before, when you make the decision, when you say, this is what it is, this is what it is. If we say sorry, why we continue to talk about it?
That makes sense.
Like, what is that? We're going backwards. We got to move forward. So, of course, you disrespect the rules. You don't follow the rules. I'm implementing the rules. Now, if you don't say sorry, you stay on the other side.
I was going to say,
you have to accept what you did was
humility.
wrong.
You want to see the humility.
Accept what you did was wrong, and then we'll come and we'll do it again.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about that. I think one of the big things right now, my daughter, right now she's the young one in the house. She's in the house more than anything. We talked about this. You probably know what I'm about to say. You make a mess in the kitchen. London, who did this? I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, it wasn't me.
Wasn't me either.
You know what I mean? And I tell her all the time, I'm like, listen, if you own it and say, my bad.
But even having multiple young children, you know their traits. So it's like, I don't think she would do that.
Right.
Let me ask him first. I'm like, yo, come here, man. Did you do that? And he'd be like, it's like, did you knock that down or didn't you?
No, see, the other one just hoards the plates in her room. So you're right. We know the traits.
You know their traits. You know their traits. He's the snack guy, and she's just. Joy is different, man.
Your daughter, your kids. I do want to I know we got to wrap up here. We're short on time, but I do want to get into some more things. Just brief. Your kids work with you. Mm-hmm. I don't want to even say for you because they're in there working, doing their thing as part of the company almost, right?
So,
like
the craziest thing ever. We've been doing leagues for 15 years.
Yeah.
We started here at the Sportsplex. We was there for 3 years. And then we've been at Newcastle Middle for the past, I can't even remember. I think it's 15.
Yeah.
I think it's 15 total. But my daughter came to me one time. She was 7 years old. She was like, this is Maya. Maya's 15 now. And she said, Dad, I want to make money like you. And I was like, well, that ain't hard. It ain't no money. And she said, I want to sell snacks. So I didn't have a concession stand until I got the idea from my child.
Yeah.
The concession stand is the biggest money maker in our program.
And
it came from her. And I would listen to, and that's the thing about your children. They're smarter than you are. Whether you want to believe it or not, you do the same dumb thing all the time. They're learning something new every day. So their brain is fresh. And with her, it was, I want to do pretzels. So we had pretzels one time. We'll sell out. I want to do pizza. We have pizza and we sell out. Like every time she said something, we struck gold. Every single time. So now we put it all together. And that's why I don't charge for people to come in because I know they're going to buy a snack.
Right.
I know they're going to. And I've been some places where you got to pay $10, $12 to get in. And you get nothing for it.
Yeah. I'll say to London's credit. So London, and right before Christmas, London came to me and said, Daddy, how come 6 a.m. Run isn't on the TikTok shop? I didn't know what a TikTok shop was.
100%.
I said, "What, London? What are you talking about? TikTok shop? Every profile has a store with e-commerce ability now for TikTok. They created that.
Crazy.
TikTok is crazy. At the time, a 7-year-old taught me
100%.
Why isn't a 6 a.m. Run, who is a nationally recognized product now, how come they're not on the TikTok shop?
And that came from your child.
So to your point.
It's what you put in them the way they, I guess they revamped it and gave it back to you. It's what you said. It's just they put their twist on it. It's insane.
100%.
Insane. But
Anything I didn't cover, as again, we are kind of doing this final lap, that you kind of want to share? Obviously, we want to make sure we'll put, your social contacting you is awesome, is easy. Again, any parent, I want to say this too. To me, it's not sports, and your kid doesn't have to be. You have kids in your league who yes, they have a goal, but you also have kids in your league who are there for just
to have fun,
just to exercise and have a great time.
So I'm gonna say this: how many great players are in Delaware?
A few.
Give me a number.
Under 30.
Under 30. So let's take 30. Let's say 50 for round numbers.
Yeah.
50 kids. How many kids are in the school? What's the population of a school? Give me a.
One high school or
anything.
I mean, 400 or 500, right?
Right. So you got 50 out of the 400. How many of those are terrible kids? Like just flat out terrible athletes?
I mean, it's Delaware. And unfortunately, a lot of Delaware is behind.
Let's say 50 great, 200 that are terrible. And then you got those kids in the middle that just want to have fun.
Yeah.
You could take the 50.
You want the middle.
I want the middle and the kids that are terrible because they're going to be my best friends.
Yeah.
Those are the kids when you walk into schools and be like, Coach B, and have such high energy for you because you gave them something that no one else would have gave them.
Yeah. Well, and that's a credit to your parents' environment, and they're bought in. Mm-hmm. I mean, your environment, when the kid that is very talented does something, it's the same raucous roar
100%.
As the kid that's just there for fun does something.
And I think that's why kids stay for so long.
Yeah.
Because your blueprint and your building blocks are supportive.
Yeah.
And your confidence goes crazy.
And to your credit, you've got the let's talk about that real quick. I'll end on this because I know for a fact now and seeing it in my friends that I grew up, you got the 50 great players now coming back coaching their kids.
Right. The 50 greatest coming back like, Coach, I need this team. I want that. But I think it's dope. It's a recurrence of life. So
awesome. And like I said, anything, last words, our audience, again, it's all parents and more national, but definitely local as well. Yep. But anything else I missed that you want to just share?
If you're looking for me, I'm very, very easy to find. We're on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, we're out there. Our @ is Coach B's Kids. It's for ages 3. We start at 3 years old. We go to 18 under Coach B's Kids. And then I also have post-college stuff going on. And then we do a lot of workouts for some of these pros that come home, like AJ English, Austin Tillman, Lou King from the Mexican League. We got a bunch of guys that come back and just work out. So, again, I'm easy to find. Come in, put your work in, go home. It is what it is. So
awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for being here. We'll put everything in there. And again, everyone, thank you for watching the 6 a.m. Run podcast, 6amrun.com, our YouTube channel. Everything is available there. I'm Hami Mahani again, and thank you guys so much. Till next time.
Yeah, appreciate it.